That way it's ready when we are.
Looks like it's ready now.
Yeah, there we go. And I don't know, maybe it's not, I see on Zoom, but it's not showing up our screen. Hmm. Okay. Well, anybody have fun plans for the weekend?
My husband
Oh,
is
is it?
actually playing a gig at a retirement community for some Alzheimer's patients, which is kind of cool through a charity thing one of his friends is doing. So we're going to go to that, which will be fun.
Oh, where's that?
It's a senior center in Murray or Midvale.
Oh,
I should
nice.
know better, but yes.
You should
Nice.
know better.
So
Meaningful.
that's my excitement.
Yeah, it is. It's live on LinkedIn now. It's working, which is fabulous. So hopefully we'll have welcome for those of you who are joining us, and that's Ben Howell, Lowell. Am I saying that right? Lowell and Frank. Thank you for joining us. Irene, hello, welcome. Glad you are here this afternoon or this morning, wherever you're coming from. And if you will, in the chat, let's make sure that's working. Tell us where you're coming from today. Oh, I see a thumbs up. Hopefully the chat is enabled, so test that out. I'd love to see if it is. Will you let us know? If it isn't, go into the questions and but chat should be enabled. If you're listening, oh,
There we go.
Munich, there we go.
Yep.
Hey, Benhau, wonderful. Willkommen. Du kommst aus München und Düsseldorf. Das ist ausgezeichnet.
Next time you can deliver in German.
Ja, ich will auf Deutsch sprechen. Amelia, welcome. Where? Beijing. Wow, welcome. What time is it in Beijing, Irene?
Pretty late, 11 p.m., no?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. 11 o'clock. Well, we're ready to start. Yes, supporting from Würzburg. Wonderful. And then Amelia, where are you calling in from or joining us from? Cyprus. How are you? Uh, hot. Well, what do you say? Kalispera? Kalimera? It's not morning. Czech Republic, wonderful. So glad that you are here. And then we have people joining us as well on LinkedIn, wherever you are. Welcome to our webinar today, which is Coaching the Leader is Not Enough. And we're going to be talking about a systems approach to real team change. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for choosing to spend this hour with us. Whether you're joining, wherever you're joining from, and you're in good company because people on this call, this room includes coaches, consultants, HR, OD leaders, team leaders from around the world. My name is Spencer Horn, and I am president of Team Coaching International. And I am joined by two remarkable colleagues, my co-host Jane Zhang, founder of TalentInsights and TCI strategic partner across Europe and Asia. And Jane has led team coaching engagements inside some of the world's most complex organizations across dozens of cultures, which means Jane talks about what breaks a team system and what heals it. And she's just not theorizing. She's seen it fail and recover firsthand. So what she shares today, you can trust with your most complex client. Jane, welcome. Glad that you're here with us.
Yeah, I'm so glad to join the session. And then later on, I can share some real cases, yeah, from the previous practice.
Wonderful. I'm so glad about that. And we have a special guest today with us, my friend Kelly Bardzell. Kelly, welcome. She's a sales expert who recently completed her certification as a team performance coach. And I'm not going to tell you her whole story, but she's going to be talking throughout and near the end of our hour. But she spends her professional life evaluating what's worth buying and what isn't. So when we get to hear her part, I want you to listen to what convinced her. Welcome, Kelly.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, and pretty stoked to have this to add to my sales bucket.
Well, I can't wait to hear some stories of success. Well, let's start off by taking a live poll, and I'm going to share my screen here. And what I'd love for you to do is, if you can take your phone, take a picture of that QR code. This is a live interactive poll. We'd just like to know a little bit about what you do for a profession. Are you a coach primarily? Do you coach teams but want a structured methodology for doing that? You're in HR or OD or learning and development, and you work with team development, or you are exploring team coaching for the first time. Excellent. Here are the answers are coming in, so we're getting a few responses. Excited about seeing where you are all at. Few more coming in. We'll wait as you are scanning that. I know we have a few more people. Also, if you're on LinkedIn or social media, scan that and let us know what your experience is. And welcome, Marvin. We're glad you're here. John, Rich, Margie. So far, we have quite a few coaching individuals, and some that are coaching teams want a more structured methodology, and we have at least one person who is looking for team coaching for the very first time. Excellent. So let's get to our slideshow, because we've got lots to do and more polls. Look at these beautiful ladies that I get to be with today. So happy about that. I have a question for you. I want you to think about the best team that you've ever been on, just an experience that you have had as someone, and it could be any team. It could have been a sports team. It could be maybe you were part of a debate team. Any kind of experience that you had that you feel was exceptional, that you remember with great fondness and enthusiasm. And I want you to think about, what were the characteristics? Picture the people. Hear how you talk to each other. Remember what it felt like to walk into that room. And I'm going to put up a poll here as you think of that best team. And I want you to maybe list some of those characteristics that, put it in the chat. I mean, what did you experience? What were some of the characteristics of that team? What was it like? I'd love to hear what your experience was. I know I had a high performing team that I absolutely loved. The team leader, he had incredibly high standards. He challenged me, and we had tough conversations, and yet I loved working for him. I loved to work hard, and we had so much fun together. I think we accomplished great things in short time, but it was, so Kelly, high energy, exactly. I mean, what was it like? Describe it, Kelly. I mean, you're on the call here.
What was cool is, like, you talked about high standards, high performance,
Yeah.
winning, and we also had each other's backs. So it was camaraderie, and it was also performance and getting it done.
Yes, and those are great combinations. I mean, people want to be part of a winning team, don't they? I mean, and it's something that we aspire to, we want to have, and I noticed, Ben, how we trust each other. You're willing to support Jane, passion and willing to take that challenge. Just keep that in mind as you are, listening to as we go today, because we want you to recall that experience often. Because unfortunately, if I were to ask you how many of you have been on a team that was more challenging, more frustrating, you would probably have a lot of stories to share with me. And that's that's unfortunate. And I have some data around that I want to share with you, that this is not uncommon. As a matter of fact, in the 20 years TCI has been measuring team dynamics, we have found that only 10% of teams are high performing. And that is a sobering number. But if you're sitting there saying, well, that's very self-serving because you're with team coaching, okay. Well, I found in January of 2024, you can look this up, there was a Harvard study where they analyzed 1,000 teams, which is not a small sampling. And of those 1,000 teams, only 8.9% were high performing. McKinsey did their own study, and only 20% of executives that they polled, that they worked with, believed that their own team was high performing. And then lastly, I had the opportunity to talk with the chief psychologist for Qualtrics, which is a company that measures data in companies all over the world. And what he told me was that they took a poll of their clients, 1,500 of their clients, and imagine the Venn diagram of productivity, and so that were financially successful for 3 years in a row, and at the same time had another Venn diagram of positivity. Only 4.7% of their clients met that. Marvin, yeah, common goal and continuously pushing. So you've experienced that, but unfortunately, not everybody has that, as we see here now with this data. And so if you think about it, that means only 1 in 10 individuals have that best team experience regularly. And this is one of the reasons why TCI really exists. And we are here as a company, and we were created for the express purpose of helping teams create results. Now, different teams have different missions. You could have a nonprofit that has the goal of helping the community and increasing certain services within the community. That's the result that we're talking about. It could be a library where we're getting more literature out into the community. But for a business, it's obviously the ability to produce results on the bottom line. Whatever your business or government agency, our focus is to help you to create those results. And that is what we've done for the last 20 years. And we have over 20,000 real team cases that we have measured and worked with. We have coaches that we have certified in 45 countries in 22 different languages. And we have done thousands of diagnostic reports to measure where these teams are. Jane, you haven't talked a lot. I'd love for you to just share just a little bit of the history of the genesis of Team Coaching International, because you have been here from pretty early in the beginning, haven't you?
Yeah, I think when if you ask me this question, we'll start from Phil. And Phil, he was MCC at that time. And then also he noticed so many people, they love coaching, love individual coaching. And then they spend a lot of money, energy, time, and then they want to start their business. However, it was so difficult for them. And then he thought about coaching is such a wonderful thing. On the other side, for the companies, they're really missing that. And the only few people, really executives, they can enjoy that. So he thought about to start the company of team coaching with Alexis. So, and then for his mindset, he think about how we can really create this as a business instead of just a hobby, because many people, they learn this and end up, they resign but they cannot start the coaching business. They're just using training or consultation to cultivate this kind of hobby, So this is pretty sad. So I think
I'm putting this up because coactive coaching, if you're familiar with that, CTI has been around for a long time, and Phil actually helped co-author their manual. And so he was very involved as a master coach in the coactive coaching methodology. And he and our founder, Alexis Phillips, really took that to the next level with this whole idea of applying coaching to teams. And we're going to talk a lot about that as we go. But before I go, I shared with you some of the problems that exist in teams. I'd love to hear from you. I have another poll. I want you to share what problems you have seen with teams. Okay, so again, take your phone. Oh, good. Some of you already got a head start on this. Is great. What patterns do you recognize that there are trust issues that persist even after team building efforts? Accountability problems that didn't improve despite clear expectations, or maybe a leader who was coached by an executive coach, but then the team culture kind of destroyed that. And you can answer more than one here. So take your phone, take a picture of this, and a conflict. Maybe you had a conflict that went underground rather than getting resolved. Maybe you had a workshop that came in to address the team needs, but that only lasted for a short time. So here are your options. If you're watching this, please take out your phone and interact. I'd love to just hear from a few of you on your perspective on which patterns you recognize. These are the ones that we have seen over and over again.
While they're doing that, Spencer, I think it's also interesting you were talking about the 10% of
Yes.
teams that think they're good and 20% of executives think they're good. I think
Yes.
that's interesting with that number being double with the executives, because I think what can happen is sometimes that same team that was amazing can go through the loops and the ups and downs of like, hey, it was a great team at one time and another time it completely dropped. So that was an interesting stat.
Yes, and you bring up a great point, Kelly. In some cases, we actually have the team leader take an assessment by themselves, and then we have the entire team do it. And sometimes the leader is disconnected and think the team is doing better than the team members actually do. And so sometimes you have this difference. But when we take a diagnostic, it is the complete perspective of the whole team, including the team leader. So you can either have people, it's the average of those or high perceptions and low at the same time. So that's a great point, Kelly. I really appreciate that perspective. So 100% of you have seen trust issues persist. The next one is the accountability problems. And, that is really an issue with a lot of teams. And then how do you deal with that, especially in today's environment where it seems so difficult to have tough conversations with people? Really appreciate your participation in this. So keep that up. All right, we've got more here to talk about. So, Jane, there's some questions that may come. I want to ask you a few things before we move on. There may be some misunderstandings about what team coaching actually is. There is this myth that teams are really team problems are really leadership problems.
Yeah.
And while you're talking about that, I'm going to put up a poll.
Yeah. Maybe things about change someone and things will change. The team will change.
Exactly. So, what do you think, audience? Are team problems really leadership problems? Truth or myth? Let's hear what you have to say. Pull out your phone, participate. We know there's a few of you. And again, if you're on LinkedIn or Facebook or on YouTube Live, you can participate with this as well.
No one wants to get it wrong.
Oh, interesting. Truth.
Yeah.
Most people are saying that this is truth. Thank you for the thumbs up. Come on, folks. There we go. We have somebody that thinks it's a myth.
Dissent.
Well, I love the So which is it, Jane?
Thank you for this read. Yeah, so during team coach, we found out actually this is really something, the team always think, yeah, we have problem. Then we change some individuals, change the leader, and things will change. However, team is a living system. So they have their belief, their patterns, and then sometimes if you join their meeting, you already know, what's the unspoken rules. If you change some of the individuals, the team, like a system, they still like, working together, just like a human being, have head and arms. But if you just change the part, the system sort of still working. Yeah.
So this is a myth then?
Yes, definitely is a myth. Yeah. But then sometimes the head of the organization, works a little bit more, for the team, just like the head of the human being. Yeah. The body.
All right. Next one. Myth, truth or myth? Better communication training solves everything.
Please vote.
What do you think, audience? Better communication training solves, not saves, solves everything. Myth is one. We got, yeah.
Okay.
We got one optimistic individual. Henry, just make sure if I'm not missing anything. Oh, I see some of you are in the chat. Yeah, Ben Howe, thank you. I don't know if you were talking about this one or the last one. If you can do it on your phone, that's great. But thank you for participating in the chat. I see you. So, Jane, what about this one? Truth or myth?
It's definitely a myth. And then because communication is so important, and later on we will introduce the 14 elements about team coaching and team performance index. But among them, communication really important. However, when we train them, this is just a skill improved, the competence improved. However, whether they're willing to use that way to communicate or not, that's the mindset. That's the
And
way.
you're so important to bring up mindset because we can give people all these great tools to improve communication, to deal with conflict, but if their mindset of the individuals, but more importantly, the collective system says it's not worth it, then communication doesn't change.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had a leader that used to say, my mentor used to say that communication is the number one problem in business. But it really comes down to the mindset of being able to utilize the tools that you have, and which is something that team coaching addresses. Okay,
Yeah.
next. Go ahead. Sorry, Jane.
Yeah, it's so true. So if it's really sometimes it is the number one problem, but without the mindset, you're wasting your money.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, last truth or myth. Team coaching is individual coaching at a larger scale. What do you think, audience? Put it in there. Myth. Oh, so we have some interesting. Any contrarians there? Let's go. Got some more. Okay, you got 15 more seconds. The poll is closed.
I think this time, yeah, all the participants they got it. This is a myth, definitely. And then sometime when we see not trained team coach go to a team, they will train. How do you think, Spencer? How do you think, Kelly? How do you think it's really like use one-on-one coaching and coach the group? Or they think a group people sit together, this is a team coaching. But in fact, we will see if 10 people or 9 people there have all different beliefs, different values. So this is we really need to see the system, what's going on in the system. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I would love for you to take that a little bit further. What is that? I think people struggle with this. I did. It took me a long time to understand this idea of systemic coaching. Okay, and we're not talking about a coaching system. We're talking about coaching a system. The system is the client, not the individuals, not the CEO, the system. And that itself is a different mindset from most coaching. Can you talk more about that and explain that?
Yeah, so sometime, some of the team coach will say there's just few topics. You just use these few topics and then coach the team. It will work. But however, from TCI point of view, it doesn't work because team is a living system, means every day, every second they're changing. So it could be there's even rumor in the market, it can change the whole atmosphere. Or if there's a leader change, or if there is a new strategist coming, or the competitor have something happening. So all these things, like the news, the tax, or whatever, all these things will impact this team. So we believe team is a living system. Then every second, every moment, we listen, we observe what's going on with this team, and not just an individual part, but as a whole team. We call them like a body, like I used the metaphor, like a human being. So the arms, the legs, they work together. And one part, if they get hurt, it will impact the whole, this is the system we call.
And a lot of times these systems, it's really a microcosm of our instinct to survive and to form collective rules. Like nobody wrote down that, you don't say certain things or you'll get punished, or you do certain things, you get rewards. Those are just systemic conditions and behavior. Margie says, plus each team has its own set of unwritten contracts that they behave. That's exactly what we're talking about, Margie. Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and what's so interesting is the system wants to survive. It will, just like any living system, right? It has its own defense mechanisms, and if it's good or bad, it wants to persist, right?
Exactly. And sometimes we think, okay, you have VMV, vision, mission, value, you stick here and stick there, you introduce in your orientation training, you think it works, but it doesn't work. People really observe what's going on. They take the rule as unspoken rule, exactly like Maggie mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we're coaching, we're coaching the entire team. We're not calling out individuals, and we're creating an awareness that we're revealing the system. Let's call it its systemness to each other, to itself. And I think that's really, really important. So again, the client is the team. And it's so powerful because, and we're going to talk about the consequences of not coaching this way, coaching just individuals. But just to highlight this a little bit more, there are these. You're exactly right. There's unwritten rules. The system resists change. I mean, it wants to. That's the homeostasis, right? It has its own immune response, which fits perfectly with your body analysis, Jane. And it has its own operating code, which is the unwritten contracts that Margie was talking about. I have a story that is personal. That's not me. I know you see my hair, and I'm not quite that. My nose is much bigger, and my hair is much smaller. But I worked for a leadership training and development company quite a few years ago. I started working there in 2008. And within 5 years, I became the CEO of the company. Now, I don't tell that to you to put myself in a great spotlight. I was the fourth CEO in 5 years. The company really had challenges. And in 2008, we had that horrible recession. And at the time, one of the greatest recessions since the Great Depression. And so revenues in this company cut in half overnight. It's one of the very first things that organizations cut during a recession is training and development and coaching. And so we were struggling, and I had a plan. I knew that I had a system that had worked. I had worked it myself. I had bucked the system. The system didn't change, but I did. And so I thought all I have to do is teach all those people on my sales team and the coaches how we can change and grow and get out of this and have the success. And I worked so hard. I stressed day and night, and I found out later I failed. And I ended up leaving that company. They fired me in July 31st of 2015. And my wife told me, she said, I've been praying for you to leave. I knew you wouldn't quit. I have been praying for something to happen that you would leave. But I failed because I did not address the system. Now, here's the interesting part. The system was fighting me and resisted my directions and my ideas and my strategies and all my individual coaching and attention individually. I did not address the system. And just a couple of months ago on my podcast, I have a teamwork podcast. I found that the company had hired somebody for her expertise, a thought leader, to come in and change. This was just in the last year or so. And she quit after a month. And I asked her what happened? What were the conditions on the team? She described the exact same team that I left 11 years earlier. The system persists and is still struggling and limping along, but it just won't die because nobody has ever addressed that system. Any thoughts, Kelly or Jane, about that? That's my personal story, and that is, I've seen that happen again and again. What about you?
Well, I think it's also like you mentioned the system hadn't changed, but the people had, right? There weren't
Yeah.
the
Oh, there
same
were many new
people.
people that had come and gone since that 11 years. Absolutely.
Mm, yeah, we actually during our team coaching, we noticed like sometime HR head or the CEO talked to us. It's like, yeah, we did this, we changed this person, we changed that, and also we engaged consultant to tell us what to do. We have great strategies, but sometimes the things not working is that we haven't spent the time to see where are we now.
Right.
We want to double the sales, we want to break even, we want to change this and that. But the team didn't spend time to see where are we now, means like there is a 10 or 14 people. It's like driving the car and everyone input a different location to start, but they expect to arrive at the same time. It doesn't work. And this is what we call system. People need to know where are you, where is the team, where are the struggles, where are the concern? Are we ready for the strategy? All the things are not considered. But then the left brain think we need to double, we need to break even. So the team doesn't work in that way. And then the
That's
team
Jane,
leader will be very hard. Yeah,
I
sorry.
think
Go
you're no, 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 I'm sorry to interrupt. I think your GPS analogy is brilliant. And so it's like the whole thing of like, okay, we're going here, we're going here. And then not only are we starting in different places, but we're not allowed to acknowledge that we're starting in different places. And so we're all saying, oh, no, we're going to turn left here, we're going to go right here, we're going to go this speed limit, we're going to do what we're going to do. But it's not allowed to talk about, well, actually, some people are here, some people are here, and some people are here.
Yeah, and some people, sometimes the allowing, the permission is like, I even don't know where are the other people. I worried, like, for example, I'm not encouraged, I'm not so passionate to move, but then I dare not to speak up because the vulnerability is not allowed in this team. So a lot of truths kind of being covered, and then it doesn't work. So people pretend is all also the relationship is not really a trust relationship. That's why previous the people vote to trust is 100%, right? You agree?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm.
So, that leads us, because of the problems that we're describing, that leads us to why this team coaching in the coaching industry has become the fastest growing specialization. Alexis, 20 years ago, came up with the team diagnostic to measure where the team is at. We'll talk about that in a second. Phil Sandahl partnered with her. And together, Alexis actually went on to co-found the ICF, the International Coaching Federation's Team and Work Group Coaching Special Interest Group. We really helped the ICF identify what are the coaching competencies that are necessary for this industry that has now grown in 20 years to like I say, the fastest growing segment of coaching. So we have this ICF recognized growth. We have organizations that are demanding change, and most of it is not working because it doesn't address mindset and it doesn't give them a measurable methodology. And some that exist out there are too complicated. Teams are having to implement change on top of everything else that they do. And so the system and the methodology that Phil and Alexis have created has just been so perfect. We'll talk just briefly about that here in a second, but 90% of teams need this. And we create this tool that really helps teams get clear. And I see some of the fastest shift in organizational behavior ever because of this methodology. And it's addressing mindset, it's addressing the system, and it's getting the team where it wants to go, not where you as a consultant want to take them. The team owns the change. But this is why this is so exciting and why I'm so proud to be a part of this. Part of the model, Jane, that they developed was based on two elements, right? Productivity, really the ability to get the job done, which we were talking about. That's goals, strategies, accountability, these 7 elements that we're measuring, alignment, decision-making, proactivity, all of these things. And then we have this idea of positivity. Why is this so important? Why positivity? That sounds kind of, there's a word in English, we call it Pollyanna-ish, right? I mean, it seems so kind of aspirational. Would you answer that, Jane and Kelly? And I've got a couple comments I want to follow up on.
Yeah, I think with positivity is like we talk about culture, such a big thing now. And while it's the reason it can get soft is because everybody thinks it means, oh, we're all having a good time and we're all getting along and everyone's just happy and rah 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 and partying together. But the truth is, it's about how do we, oh, actually I'll let that go because you
No,
got me
no,
fried there.
say what you're
Oh,
saying,
okay.
Kelly. You're right on track.
Right. Perfect. The point is that it's not about being happy. It's about, do we trust each other? Do we have relationships where we can tell each other what we need to in order to grow, but in a constructive way that doesn't cause people to shrink back? Are we hearing everything from everyone? And actually, are we growing in the same direction? That's what positivity is. It isn't about rah rah, let's make sure everyone gets a participation trophy, which unfortunately, sometimes companies have turned it into that.
Yeah.
I
And if
love
you,
that. Yeah.
Jane, what are your thoughts?
I love Kelly's version, and it's really good. I mean, what she said, and then also it's about engagement. And most of the company, they don't care about this part. Only when the department heads they receive a bad score about the employee engagement survey is really low, then they start to look at, oh, okay, what's wrong here? But they don't treat this as one success foundation for their team.
You know, to illustrate this, I have my mentor that I was talking about, and I talk about this in my keynotes. At one point, he sat me down, ladies, and he said, Spencer, you're not the leader that this team needs. That's a pretty hard conversation to have, right? I was one of the directors of the company. He says, I'm going to give you 6 months to figure it out. And at the end of those 6 months, he promoted me. But as I think about it, think about why his comments didn't crush me and cause me to quit and get defensive is because he had put in the effort to connect with me, to build a relationship with me, to invest in me that I knew he cared. So the reason his correction worked is because of the connection and the engagement, because of the positivity. That enabled me to then go and be more engaged, more effective, more productive. But so often leaders go right to the correction and skip the connection. You can't have productivity without the positivity. It's not sustainable.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, the matter from not sure is 54 here is sometimes we give feedback. What you said is like really the leader gave feedback and very
Yeah.
constructive feedback, and then you take it and you grow, you improve yourself. And then in many cases, sometimes we give feedback and people withdraw, like, okay, I don't play with you anymore. So there is no back forwards, right? Backwards and forwards, like not play together, like ping pong, right? Or ping pong is no good. The problem solving is no good. But the way is like you can send me feedback and I change and I improve and you can give me feedback again. So it's really people can hold each other together and the relationship will go further.
Yeah. I have a question from Margie for both of you. And that is how she says, how do you think the change to mostly remote working affected teams? Great question, Margie. I mean, I think that's important. That's her question for her. So,
Mhm.
I had a unique experience. The team I was on was all remote, all over the US and Canada. And so actually this going to this kind of environment was actually a benefit because before everything was phone calls. And so in this new environment, it became video. So for us, it actually brought us more connected and more together because we were seeing each other. I've also seen other friends who worked at jobs or family members where they actually became disconnected. So I think the
what's
context,
the difference, though? How would you describe the difference if you could, the contrast?
the just, I mean, there's a different energy being in person. There's a different level of authenticity that you feel. There's a vibe that's a little harder to convey on screen. Um,
Uh huh.
Yeah.
What do you see, Jane?
Yeah, from team coaching experience, we see face to face is easier for most of the team. And also, yes, to Kelly, some of the teams, they really get used to this online work. They, like some technical people, they really love that.
mhm.
On the other side, for team coaching itself, we see it's much easier. And when people sit together and then the face to face talk and the conversation, it's easier. And then for those like people sit remotely, even for the team coaching, we will suggest they can face-to-face for the first session at least. When they started this session, have some, like human connections. And then with that, follow-up session, because team coaching is a journey, sometimes 8 months, right? So you can do online. And then people, they can still, with that great foundation from the first session, they still can continue this build on, like what Kelly mentioned. They can build on this trust, build on this accountability. Yeah. So like,
It's
Margie,
quality
those are great.
versus quantity, and it's in terms of if you can be in person, yay, that's always best. However, this allows us a reach we never would have had before. So now we're able to get to people that we couldn't have. So it's yes and.
Yeah,
exactly,
well, and I'm going to
exactly.
say yes, and in my experience is that there actually needed to be more communication when we went virtual, not less, because that happens naturally in person. So when we're separated, we don't think to, hey, I need to look over the cubicle and talk to so and so. We are less likely to pick up the phone and or get on the Zoom or Teams or whatever it is. But we need to do that, and so you actually need to schedule more times, whether it's even a remote coffee and just say, "Hey, will you join me for lunch today online while we eat separately?" You need those times to connect, and if you do that, I think the team stays connected. I'm going to throw one more at you, Margie. What about AI? How is AI impacting teams? And I will tell you, it can be again mixed. And one of the challenges that organizations are experiencing with AI is it's causing many individuals to be individually more productive, and then they're relying less on team members. So less collaboration is a risk with AI. So we're relying more on our machines and not on each other. And that is something that can damage teams if you're not careful. So you have to really anticipate that as you work together to make sure that you are not losing those opportunities to interact and collaborate, because those are so important. So we take the model. Let's keep moving. Great question. We take the model and we put it into quadrants. And so let me share this with you. And Jane, if you want, will you describe the four quadrants, or what we call the four universes that a team can exist on?
Yeah, according to TCI study, they studied the success, why those teams they are successful. So they found out that there's a trick. So we introduced the productivity and positivity already. So if you divide this like low area and high area, so if we look at high productivity but low positivity, this red area, and a lot of teams fall into that, keep on talking about KPI, and then less really interaction. So work like a machine, right? This is the red area. And then the green area is more like you are really, focus a lot on engagement. And then, but sometimes the result wise, the people are not really so keen driving result. So in that area, you will see in some, R&D center or some, new companies could fall into that category. And also you have the brown area, those is low positivity, low productivity. So this area, it could be, like merge acquisition sometime, or sometime change boss, or like market, there's rumors. So people are really in that kind of area, very low morale, and also not really passionate to do any change. But of course, there is also some opportunities in team coaching perspective. And then if we go to the blue area,
Let me explain with that. We believe, Jane, that every team has the ability to be high performing, even if
yes.
they're not today. So that's what you're talking about. There's an opportunity there, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. And then the blue area is high, we say the high productivity, high positivity area. So that one is really during the team coaching, we will really try to inspire the team to think about how to go there. Because this is definitely the dream place for leaders. So many leaders, they want to see the very good KPI, but they work like hell, like they whipping the team. However, in this area, team, they are so motivated. They drive for themselves. They see challenges as opportunity to grow. So yeah, they're very creative. So this is the area we want to go.
Right.
Very.
Which one of these? I mean, really, only the blue is sustainable, right?
Yes, exactly. And this is a good question. At the same time, like we say, team is a living system. So
Yeah.
they can slip from the different, from the blue area, slip into the other area easily, when there is
Yeah.
some rumor, some news, some whatever we see that happen a lot of teams. Yeah, so teams are living system.
Margie, I see your question. I'm going to maybe wait a little bit later to answer that. But this is what a maybe a normal team would look like. There's a range of productivity on the low end and the high end. In some areas, you may be doing well. In other areas, you may struggle. And the same with positivity. In some areas, we may be communicating well, but we may struggle with conflict, right? And so you may have part of your team in the high productivity, high positivity area, and then so teams begin to settle for less than great results. So I have a question for you that are listening. Most teams have an area or a quadrant that they are currently in. Maybe it is the blue, but maybe you're mostly in the red. You feel like maybe you're in the brown and you're depressed, or maybe you're having fun but not achieving results in the green. I would love for you, please. We have a next poll question. Those of you who are on the call, what team or which team culture represents you? Basically, let's see if we can, which team area are you in? Oh man, I got to have the right question up. Here we go. Which climate best describes a team that you're working on right now? High productivity, low positivity. Green, high positivity, low productivity. Beige, low, low. Blue, high, high. I'd love to, and hopefully we have some blue, but take out your phone, answer the question.
And Spencer, how do they answer it if their team has moved through? Like I know a team I was on literally moved through all four.
You may be able to respond to more than one.
Okay.
I think I may have set it up that way, and if it didn't, I'll change it. Put it in the chat if it's not working for you to put more. If you want to put it in, okay, interesting. 67% are high productivity, low positivity. Now we have same high positivity, low. And that can be frustrating to be on it, where people enjoy each other, but you feel like there's so much that you're not accomplishing that you could. Nobody's willing to rock the boat. We're not challenging each other, and it just, you want to be where you're winning, and that's ultimately and positive, and it's a magical combination. So thank you for those responses. You got 15 more seconds to respond. I would love to get your responses in there. Interesting. So the winner is high productivity, low positivity. And that turns to burnout, doesn't it? So if you're on a team that needs work, you're not one of the high performing teams, and you want to go through a team coaching process, Jane, could you describe that process? Let me put up the journey that we go on when we work with a
Yeah.
client. Um,
So at
Got
very beginning, we will try to understand what's the business challenges or business requests. For example, sometimes not necessary there is painful point for the business, but could be they want to move from good to great. So
yeah,
that we call discovery session. So the discovery time. So that will include we will interview the leaders, and then also we will try to understand what's their expectation. And then very important topic is who are the team. So sometimes it's not just, team leaders will say, Kelly, please help me to coach this team. They have problem. Help me to fix this team, right? So, but the team including the leader, yeah. And then with that one, we will send them the assessment. Just now we explained like, productivity and positivity all together 14 elements. And then they will have like 20 minutes assessment, and then they will see a snapshot like where they are. But we won't just provide assessment immediately to the team. Instead, we will hold the team together to start the team coaching session that we call the review session. So we will prepare them, move a little bit from me to we. Like if we just imagine we give them the result immediately, people will say, yeah, we know this team had problem. But instead of me, I to change, I would say, hey, Spencer, you need to change, or Kelly, you need to change. So finger point each other, right?
We actually have an exercise to do exactly what you're talking about. How do we shift
Okay.
from me
Yeah,
to we? And it's really
exactly.
important that you're bringing that up.
Exactly. So instead of doing that, we will spend time to really help the team prepare them to move from the me to we, and
Yeah.
then that kind of mindset, and then we start to look at the result. In that sense, they can easily to reflect what's here, where are we now, and where we want to go. So that's will lead the follow-up session, so action plan and ongoing coaching. So normally it will last like 8 to 10 months, sometimes shorter, 6 months at least, and then will involve like 6 times or even 7 times intervene in between.
And as you talked about the diagnostic, here are some of the data points that we provide. We're just going to show a few of what those might look like. And what does this do is we're a team to see where we are on those quadrants, because we talk about them in the reveal process that you explained, but not just talk about them. They actually experience this. And that's a very important thing when it comes to changing beliefs. Remember, we can't just teach a system and a process. We have to shift belief. And so we actually have this psychosomatic experience where people experience the four universes. What is it like to be in a highly productive low positive? And we not only do we talk about it, we feel it, we do an activity that we would do in that, and then we shift to the green. What's it like to be in this high positivity? And so they know it. And then when we reveal the data with the quadrant, they instead of just saying this is a data point, they're like, oh yes, this feels like where we are. This data represents what we just felt.
Yeah, that's so important, Spencer. You mentioned instead of like left brain thinking, oh, where's the report? We read the report, but we will prepare them, use the body to embody, like they feel the energy, they feel
Exactly.
yeah, that's so important. Yeah.
But then we're able to look at each area, 14 elements, 7 elements of positivity. Excuse me. For example, this team struggles with trust and valuing diversity and having conflict. And on the productivity side, they really struggle with accountability. They know that. But this then puts a number to it that then we can use as a baseline and a measurement for going forward and seeing how they improve. And we look at the data in more detail so that we can really understand emotionally, right? This is about changing beliefs. How can we, and many times the team is itself thinking, we know we have this problem. Now, coach, fix us. But part of the belief shift of team coaching is to help them see that they actually have the capability to turn that around. And when that mindset shifts, the behavior follows. And it happens very, very quickly. But this is part of the emotional experience. Then we really ferret out or identify where are the areas that they have the greatest strength in productivity. And we identify specific areas. For example, this team has efficient decision making. That's great. That's something that they can use. The leaders are empowered on this team. Wonderful. But on the low end, this team makes excuses when the job doesn't get done. So we know some very specific areas to work on with these assessments. So these are examples of things that we're measuring in the tool. And Kelly, you certified fairly recently. You had a chance to go through this data, and what did you notice as you were looking at the data? Was it just data, or what was different about having this type of report?
Here's what's cool. A lot of times people are, do what I say, not what I do. And you go in and you may not find that out until further on in the relationship. Even with this, doing the team diagnostic from the first start, like you hear the leader say, oh, I want this, I want X, Y, and Z. And then you see their answers and you can check to see whether there's alignment. So in that discovery call, when you said check for fit, you legit find out, are they even aware or not self-aware of what's going on? So this information is actual meaningful data. It's not aspirational, this is what I want to be and this is where I'm at. Like it gives you factual. This is where your team is. This is where they think they are. This is where you think you are. And then we have a conversation about it. And then you know whether this is something that's a good spend of your energy on or not. So it actually, this tool is uh, gold for
Yeah.
assessing working with someone.
And Jane, you talked about alignment, right? You can actually see where the team is aligned and where they're not. And this is a powerful tool to actually normalize the fact that there are people on the team that see things differently. And
Exactly. When you say alignment is a word, is a concept. But when they see this, like you say, they see this, it's so powerful. They will see, wow, so distracted, so many waste in the energy.
yeah, and celebrate where they actually have alignment. So you, Jane, we're kind of wrapping up here. You have been a team coach for many years now, and you've had the chance to work with so many teams, major organizations that people would recognize. Would you share a little bit about a case study of how you use this to really impact one of your clients?
Yeah, sure. So this is a global engineering materials company. And then at that time when we received this case, their organization is kind of a matrix, and that time market declining, so people are really, like no low morale, and then also they're restructuring from headquarter, and locally also they're doing some organizational restructuring. So you can think about, headquarter not fixed, and here also not fixed, so everything is moving, a earthquake everywhere, and then also they have a lot of adjustment going on, and then also from the KPI wise, department compete with department. So sometimes, for example, the delivery dates or the stock, how much you need to keep in the stock, and the sales want longer, like a quicker delivery, right? So a lot of things are cost cutting, a lot of KPI, they just fighting with each other, and then also each one they just work silo. And because of the matrix organization, they actually report directly to corporate. And then so locally, they not really work with each other nicely. So that's the problem, a lot of problem. Here we list six. So with the assessment, we will see four key problems. So for these four areas, not like coach we identify, but the
They identified these areas as
and
problems.
that's so important. Like Kelly said, they see this, right?
Yeah.
So they identify four areas. One is alignment, because you can imagine the KPI files, these are not aligned. And accountability, when a customer complain, they will say, hey, this is your problem. This is R&D issue. This is, sales
Right.
issue. This is whatever issue. And then the trust level, you can imagine, really low at that time. And also they cannot like have this feedback session or constructive interaction. They cannot. And then so either they, whose voice is louder and listen to whom, or they fight. So these are the beginning. So you can see the dot line at very beginning, but the solid line is after the coaching session, really the circle grow. And then you can see not only the places that we did team coaching, but also other areas also improve the score. And then the dot line square move to the really blue area.
It's interesting. This is actually for teams already a fairly high performing team, wasn't it?
Yeah, at that time, it's for them, it's like move from okay, good to great
That's
at that time.
exactly right. So
Yeah.
even if you get a client that's it where the green is, there's an opportunity to improve even more or understand how to maintain that, which many teams struggle with. But this is a high performing team. But to see overall productivity increase 16%
Mhm.
and positivity 15%, that's amazing. But here's the more interesting part.
Yeah, and then you're right, Spencer. What we call like 16% increase or 15% increase, people will say this is your term, team performance index. It's your term. For business, they care about is the business result. No matter you do
Yes.
presentation, coaching, or whatever training, I care about my business result. So the business result is really generate from the team themselves. So one is customer complaint handling time really shortened 71% is huge, and delivery rate also increased 71%. Accounts receivable turnover days also reduced. So you can see all this change. So really matters to the business. And
This is why teams exist, to produce results.
exactly. Exactly. And then because of this case, they also won the very special corporate award for the team. And after that, they say we really can handle any challenges as a team. During the alignment session, they really talk about that fight with each other. What should be the right KPI? So the healthy fighting, like Kelly mentioned, like people can talk, have that constructive interaction. Yeah.
Yeah, well, through 20 years, teams have gone through these diagnostics, and we see on average an improvement in productivity of 20% and 20% in productivity, which is really astounding. This is one case study that one of our practitioners shared. Here's mine. This is one of my very first clients, company by the name of Madrivo. This is what the CEO said. They are a Inc. 5000 12th fastest growing company in America when I started working with them. Overall positivity improved 23%. Overall productivity increased 14%. Of those positivity data points, 35% in ability to have disagreement, their ability to do that well improved. And the number one issue that they wanted to work on was communication. And over 7 months, it improved 48%. Their accountability, which is a productivity measure, increased 23%, and alignment. But more importantly, the bottom line revenue, their revenue increased 50% in that 7 months. So those small changes in productivity really made a big difference to the bottom line. We have so many case studies. We don't have time to share those with you. But as we wrap up, we have just a few minutes, and we'll stay on for any other questions. And Margie, I want to answer your question, but I would love to ask you, if you're listening to this, what would change in your practice as a coach if you could offer a validated, measurable coaching process, not just a workshop? This is not just for coaches. This is for executive leaders, human resource professionals, organizational development professionals, consultants who want to be able to measure their impact, leaders and practitioners who work with their own teams or other teams. And we have 2 ways for you to certify in this methodology. And this is what I want to share with you, is that when you take the master class or the team coaching overall process, which is what we call a certified team professional, you have the ability to utilize the methodology that we've just shared with you so that your clients can see the progress that they're making, and you as that practitioner can really deliver that, which makes you hugely valuable. You have authorization to use the diagnostic. You are learning the coaching competencies, the methodologies now that the ICF is using, and you are authorized to facilitate the process so that, again, you can create those same results that we're sharing with you here. On top of that, if you are ICF certified, you get continuing education credits for these when you take our class. And we have 2 upcoming options for you. We have a live class, which is amazing, which is going to be in Amsterdam, September 22nd through 26th. And this is, Jane, can you just share a little bit about this? I know we've got like 2 minutes left. I want to make sure that we go fast.
Right. So for the first 3 days master course, and then the 4th day, we will send you to the real client. We don't do role play, we do real play. So the client's already pre-interviewed and prepared TDA, and then you can go there for you just practice.
Unbelievable practice. So instead of just role playing, you can actually role play with a real client with master coaches there to back you up.
Exactly. And the last day we'll come back and then we'll give each other feedback. So that's a wonderful class.
And if you're not able to make the in-person in Amsterdam, we have a virtual cohort option for you that starts the exact same day. But that's done 2 days a week, 4 hours a session, over 6 weeks. So September 22nd to October 7th. I guess that's not 6 weeks, but it's 6 sessions of 4 hours each. And so you can do that virtually, and the timing works if you're in Europe or North America for that one. Now, Kelly, you recently I just want to bring this back to you. You know, you recently went through this process a few months ago, and you were sitting exactly where someone in this audience might be, and wondering what made you say yes to the certification.
So I'll be straight. It was like, here's another thing, right? How, like, everyone says their stuff is great. Here's what's really cool about this. You talked about the truly anonymous. It is a true, well, I'm sorry. First and foremost, you've got the team assessment to get you in the door. So if you need help getting into a client, we all want to take a survey about ourselves. And if they just even have that information, that is a draw. You can talk to someone
And that's
about
what
this.
this is right here, right, Kelly? You actually get to test it out right now if you want to.
So test that out, scan that QR code. I'm telling you, that thing alone is a lead gen for you because any client's going to want to hear about themselves. So that's one. It makes them feel like an expert. They love it. Two, it also gives you a lot of information about whether you can work with them or not or what you can do. The other thing is they talked about this being anonymous. You guys mentioned trust is such a huge issue. Same thing with me. I know I've been at companies where we did have some truly anonymous surveys, and then we had some surveys where they sounded anonymous, but they actually weren't anonymous at all. And the trust level was dropped. This is legit anonymous. You as a coach will have no idea who said what. And here's the deal, companies, they're still going to try to point fingers. I wonder who said this. I wonder who said that. The process and the questionnaire pulls away from that. And then the other piece with workshops is if you have someone, we all know like there's some groups where there's going to be the loud people that always talk, and then the people that sit in back, unwritten contract, there's no point. This draws out everyone. There's a way to do that and include someone. They give you the questions, they give you the process. Spencer mentioned that this is experiential, but it's not only experiential, it's also logical. So you truly get the whole picture and you can make a difference where everyone's voice is legit heard. At first I thought, oh, this is like everything else. It is not. It's a lead gen and it's a system that works.
That is, I mean, I couldn't say anything better. That was brilliant, and thank you so much, Kelly, for being willing to come on and share your experience. I know our time is up. If there are any questions online, I'd love to answer them. And Margie, I saw your question. I'm gonna. Anything else you want to say before I answer that, Jane? Before we let our listeners go, and you can hang out with us. I'll put you. Anybody who wants to ask a question, I'll let you speak here. But
Yeah.
Jane, what? Any
The
last
last,
minute?
yeah, the last one I probably is for the course is like the course will cover five competencies, not just about the tool itself. It
Yeah,
will cover five coaching competencies, teach you how to do it, how to do team coaching, and 24 coaching skills, very detailed teaching, and also 16 awareness training. That's it.
wonderful. Well, Margie, I'm letting you speak here if you want. What talk to us about your AI question.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh. Thank you. First of all, thank you for delivering this awesome presentation. And yeah, my question is, because sometimes, and I wouldn't say it's very unpopular, people actually turn to AI to solve their problems, like even emotional problems, and to get this advice, like, okay, I have this kind of difficult situation in my team. What should I do? And they literally describe the whole scenarios, what's happening. And then because the AI is such a huge mirror, and it really frames the solution based on how you ask the question. So the moment someone is actually asking in one way, it's gonna get a specific type of feedback. If someone else is actually framing the same situation from their own point of view, which is of course like filtered through their own system and beliefs, so it can have like different emotional coloring, it can actually get different idea about the solution. And this way, when those parties actually meeting back again in their real life, that can be quite an emotional clash, I would say.
Yeah, and, what's interesting about what you just said is that this is actually one of the reasons why executive coaching is starting to struggle right now, is because executives are turning to their AI instead of real coaches. And I'll share what the AI can't do. I spend a lot of time talking to CEOs about effective delegation. They suck at it. They're terrible at it. And I teach them a methodology that is a coaching methodology that is so simple, but they fail. So you could go to AI and it'll say, "Hey, do this with your team." They just don't have the skills. They haven't developed how to draw out the team and how to make the team move and have those experiences, those emotional connections that the team coach has. But those skills are all designed to get the team awareness. The CEO or the executive that goes online to AI to get this knowledge and information is shortcutting the experience that it takes to get the team to actually shift. So nothing actually shifts. They may have the answer, they just don't know how to implement it. So it doesn't matter if you have the tool, you don't have the skills to apply the tool.
So it's like literally when I don't know, your AC is broken, for example, and you're going and you have full instruction from AI how to repair it, but it doesn't mean like you know how the system works, like
You
how
may
it's
not
all.
even have the tools to do what it asks you to do.
Yeah.
So, but it's a great concern, and we really answer. This is a differentiator for practitioners that you don't have anywhere else. And to date, AI cannot compete with you with the skills that you get through this certification. So,
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And
Um,
AI's
Do you think
feedback is going to be, "Good job, that was great." Yeah,
yeah,
so it's distorted.
yeah. I tell my my AI to stop being so nice. Give it to me straight. Let's see if we have any other questions. I know that Henry, thank you, Henry, put the registration information for Amsterdam. Anybody else? Thank you so much for joining us, Margie. Remind us where you're calling from?
Cyprus?
Ah, beautiful Cyprus. And it's hot there. Where are you in Cyprus? You in what's it?
Paphos.
In Paphos.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the western side there, right
Yes,
next
the
to
most
where,
beautiful sunset in the world.
just north of there is a national park. You got Troodos Mountains behind you. You've got the national park where the sea turtles all give birth, don't you?
Yeah, I know. I live here 12 years, so I'm more local than than actually just visitor.
Yeah, Paphos is a beautiful place. I've been there. You got all these great Greek ruins, and the Apostle Paul visited there and was had a not a very pleasant experience. So wonderful. Any other questions anybody has? Jane, anything you want to end with?
I think great. If anyone have any specific questions, we'll stay online for a while. But otherwise, thank you very much for your time and your interest in team coaching. And welcome to the team. And welcome to really join this team, because we are passionate to use team coaching, and also can support the team to improve the quality of life. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you all, and have a wonderful evening, afternoon, morning, middle of the night, wherever you are. We're so glad that you joined us, and we hope to see you in Amsterdam. Reach out to us or on our virtual cohort. Both are fantastic, but the virtual one is not the complete course. It is just the masterclass version of the CTPC, and then there's the another part of it that goes on. But the one in Amsterdam includes everything, including follow-up online practice sessions as well. Is that right?
Yeah. And you will see the canal.
Oh my gosh, our hotel is right on the canal. We're 5 minutes from the Van Gogh Museum. Yes, we're right next to it. What other museum are we close to, Henry?
I
I'm
think
not sure how to pronounce that, but it starts with Raj something. It's like
it's on the
5
slide.
minutes, 6 minutes away from the hotel.
Yes, I saw that. There is another big museum, but My wife's so excited about the Van Gogh Museum.
Hmm.
So, well, Jane, Kelly,
Thank
thank you
you
for
very
joining us
much.
today.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much. Appreciate y'all.
Okay, let's see. How do we